Welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm your host, Tristen Stawicki. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. Join in with other high-vibe, lovely people as I unravel spiritual ideas to help create change and growth in your life. I cover a variety of spiritual topics, sharing knowledge to meet you wherever you are in your journey. As a shaman, astrologer, and human design reader, I help you understand how to make informed decisions and incorporate different modalities using discernment and your own intuition. Today, you will gain powerful shamanic healing tools you can use to incorporate spiritual practices in non-traditional ways. Whether you're just beginning or need a knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Stay tuned. Musings and Modalities starts now. Hi everyone, and welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm Tristen Stawicki, your pragmatic shaman bestie, and I'm so excited for today's episode, Beyond the Numbers with Charrise Bateman, Money Mindset, Tax Strategy, and Entrepreneurship. Before I bring out today's guest, I did want to share that I've wrapped up with two incredible clients, and I have two spots that have opened up for business and leadership coaching. I'd love to have just like a discovery call if you are interested in one of those spots, and you can book that at musingsandmodalities.com. And so my guest today is the founder of Blue Heart Accounting, and she has 25 years in accounting experience, a degree from BYU, Idaho, enrolled agent credentials. She has helped thousands of businesses and their owners clean up their books, save thousands in taxes, and plan for real growth. Blue Heart Accounting is more than numbers. It's really and truly about its people, which I've personally experienced firsthand with every interaction with her and her team. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. One of the initial reasons, I reached out to you and we met because of Entreprenistas, right? This incredible kind of online community that also meets in person. But was because I was so tired of like having a CPA that I didn't even see once a year. We had maybe a Zoom call that felt like 20 minutes and like a checklist of questions. And that is not a trusted advisor. That's not what I imagined or saw on TV that I felt was someone that cared about my business, or I felt like they cared to the extent their job let them. I actually do want to correct myself. Like they weren't maybe set up for success in the at the business they worked at.
Mhm.
And I feel like that has been kind of the night and day difference in kind of working with you and your team, and that Blue Heart Accounting isn't that standard experience. And so I'd love for you to kind of speak about what drove you to make that difference and champion that better experience for business owners.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to talk on that. One of the things that I've really been focusing on recently is this burning desire that I have that I want to create something heartfelt, personal, and real in a world that is increasingly artificial. As we get automated and as we increase our productivity and profits and all of those things, I'm feeling this loss of the personal, real connection. And I want to bring it back and change a model that an accounting firm can be successful while being personal and individualized. I think the accounting industry is not the only victim of it. I think marketing is the same way. I think healthcare is the same way, where we've gotten so specialized in healthcare, that you have to go to your foot guy, and there's nobody tracking the whole thing.
Yeah.
Nobody that's paying attention to the whole big picture. I've noticed when I went to the hospital with my, aging mother, that the nurses spent more time looking at the computer screen and not at my mother at the bedside. And I watched that in real time and I was like, that's exactly what's happening in accounting as well. People are looking at the spreadsheets and they've lost sight of the people that are running these businesses who have real fears, real goals, real life questions. And the data only helps serve those. And one of my favorite quotes is that numbers only count because people matter, you
Mm.
know? And I just think that that's really important. So I'm trying to build something like that to where the numbers are just the tool. They're the means to the end instead of the end itself.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense, especially when you think about even the words you use, like systems and like profit and different things, are such like a masculine energy. And we love balance, right? And when we lose that sense of balance and that very beautiful gift of like seeing people for who they are, seeing the possibility, which is very feminine energy, right? Seeing the dream and coming to and being like, well, we can see the dream and then also, use numbers to support it in a very pragmatic way. And I think that's such a beautiful kind of way to take something that is essentially broken, right? It's broken, in several places when business owners don't feel supported, when they have questions that's holding them back, right? Or they're kind of even accidentally punishing themselves, not counting something appropriately, and it's costing them money just because it's a system that's very complex, just like our healthcare and, a few other systems we have here. So that makes, total sense. And I'm so grateful that you kind of see that need and are holding strong in that vision.
Thanks. I like it. It also, if my life had to be solely about accounting and tax, that would not be a very fulfilled life. Whereas a life filled with connection and growth and something very real, then it makes the accounting is really fun. Like then that's a really fun way to live my life because it's about the people.
I love that. And I feel like the exact same way I built my business, which is like, oh, I love building products and I love systems and I love talking with developers. And if I had to only talk with developers all day, my sense of dreaming and like everything else is just so similar, where I'm like, oh, I got to have my connection to other people and other folks that can dream big and can hold that and be like, well, what if we made it better, and talking with people that just want to make whatever they're doing better is just so fulfilling.
I agree.
When we think about kind of making an impact, having financial literacy and really a healed money mindset is so important. It's something I'm continuing to work on. It's something I know members of my family are as well. And it can be really challenging, especially for women, and often intimidating, right? Where especially if money's been used as a sense of control. I would love to hear if you have any tips for, the audience that want a better relationship to money, but aren't sure where their blind spots might be and kind of how to kick that off.
Probably one of the best ways to start is to date your money regularly. Your money with the relationship is a relationship that needs nurtured, and a relationship, if you were trying to improve a relationship with your kids or with your spouse, you would do that by spending more time with them, you know, and getting to know them. And, you just can't get around that. It's really difficult to build a relationship with someone or something without putting in the time for it. And so, dating your money weekly is a really great way to start. Dating your money monthly, I think is a must have, that's an absolute minimum. And that you set it as a recurring date on your calendar that this is the day and the time that I check in with my money and I review all my transactions for the month. I get honest and real about it. A relationship, if you have a poor relationship, avoiding it will only make that relationship worse, harder, scarier every time you then have to confront it.
Mhm. No, that makes complete sense. And when I think about it, because you know me, I want to add some magic, I want to add some fun. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm checking something, and I'm someone I actually try to check most days, if I'm being honest, especially my business. Like I'm always like, what's happening? Was I paid? Things like that, because it's fun. It's like, it's just real and tangible of the impact, an aspect of the impact I make. But I love the idea of kind of taking that, and even elevating it and being like, okay, well, do we want to light a nice candle? Like, how do we make this an experience of like, I'm going to check in on myself. Maybe I'll talk about like write my dreams with my money of like next month, here's what I hope to achieve, or next year at this time. Because I think when you can do like tangible actions with like some strategy and then a little bit of magic as well, I feel like that's the most impactful way that you can really achieve change.
Tristan, that is brilliant. Because when you think about, again, if you think about it as a relationship, if you were going to have a date night with your significant other, and you came to that date with confrontation and
Mm.
all this terrible energy, and you came in sweatpants and you came with this, what
Yeah.
kind of relationship are you building? Whereas if you light a candle and you know what I mean? We're like, okay,
Yeah.
let's get comfortable. Let's get, you know, clear. And you bring that energy with you. It would change the whole dynamic of the relationship with your money.
No, that makes sense. Now, how do you feel about like actually touching money? So I try to get money out of an ATM and different things because I feel like we've lost that like tactile connection to money. And so I do have like a statue of Fortuna, and I have different currencies around her, especially like if you've ever traveled, you always have some leftover money from your travels. It just, you know what I mean? And I just like to keep it because I think it's pretty and a way to honor the trip. But yeah, I just wanted to see if there's anything else around kind of how we've lost that connection to money and how you recommend kind of getting that back.
Okay, so that's super interesting because I think since I am an accounting nerd, that money to me has always been digital. Like it's always been, even back in the days, I'm old enough to have done paper tax returns, with a pencil, but it still is always like once you put it in the 10 key is that for me is when it becomes real.
Mm.
And so whereas for other people that's loses its reality.
Yeah.
But I think more to the point of what makes it real is that money in and of itself is a means to an end, not the end. And so I think for me, how I make that real is with to what end? I have this income for what purpose? I have this expense for what purpose? And people who have a really hard time spending money, some people have a really hard time letting go of money. And if you change that thought about that of it being more like a river flowing in and out versus something that you have to grip, keep with a grip, and that you get this big return on your investment. The way that works for me, because I'm an accountant, is through projections. Like I am in love with doing projections in my business, and most business owners don't do that. It's more like projections are a conceptual thing, like how much do you want to earn next month or how much do you want to earn next year? But if you'll actually map that out and put a 1 year and a 5 year plan together of here's my real dollars of incoming and outgoing expenses, and then put the why behind it, like to what end? What is this all for? For me, we want to make a profit. Obviously, as a business
Yeah.
owner, the profit is absolutely essential. You can't do your business if you're not making a profit. I can't serve clients if I don't have a profit. I can't keep employees. But so we have to make a profit, but more than that, I want to make a difference. And so I don't believe in profit at all costs because if my profit has to come at the expense of making a significant impact, and sometimes my profit will bend so that I can make a difference. And then sometimes, at the end of the day, still profit has to drive it. Otherwise, you can't make a difference.
Yeah.
But I love keeping that focus of to what end? What is the end in mind here?
Yeah, one of my drivers is like where I spend my money is where I spend my energy. And so, like, how I can help my local economy. Like, how can I, like, that's the impact I know I can make is like when I go to this incredible shop that I have, downtown that has different spices and candles. And I just love being there, and it's locally owned and like celebrating them and getting to check in with how they are. Like, that is impact to me. And that's what matters.
Yep. I love that. I completely agree. Mine's a bagel shop. I have a local bagel shop that he's
Yeah.
actually my neighbor that is the owner and founder, and he employs all these college kids. And I just am obsessed with him and his business and how he runs. And so every time someone comes to town, I'm like, I have to take you to Teton Bagel because you'll love this place, you'll love this food, you'll love this guy, you'll love this vibe. And it is, it's then not about spending $15. It's about more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so beautiful. And as we think about, projections and kind of we'll say kind of the harder to grasp concepts of accounting as well as like tax season and all of those things, I really try to honor the energy of it being in spring. I try to honor the energy of like both possibility and honor like what I've done in a time of reflection. And so, when it's that time for people to start thinking about their taxes, I would love to hear your general kind of approach to tax strategy. And then I have a couple follow-ups I want to ask you about it because it's so, so important, especially for business owners. It can be a time that many of them dread and really struggle with.
Yes. Well, mine might be a different answer than some because I don't believe in annual tax preparation. tax preparation is the most boring part, and it is redundant. Like it's the reporting of what already happened. And so there's nothing to it. And AI will be able to do it before you know it. But what's really impactful is the future looking. So tax planning, tax strategy, and that should be happening every quarter, every month, every year. And you should be setting aside for taxes with each month, like it should be something that is very present and completely part of the everyday experience for a business owner. Um, all of the decisions that I make have a tax impact one way or the other at some point. So being able to get that fully integrated, systems that fully integrate that so that tax is not something that happens at tax season or at this time of year. It's something that's ongoing all the time. It's
Mm.
just part of an accounting and projections and isn't an annual thing. It's an all the time thing. It's the every time you date your money and all of those things. So that's my key to get ready of it is there's nothing to get ready for if you're always doing it.
I think about, kind of the idea of spring cleaning versus having a house that you always take care of. I feel like it's very
Yes.
similar. Um,
Oh, that's perfect. I'm
yeah.
gonna write that down and keep it.
Please steal, please steal. Right? But it works because you're just like, well, if you clean your house truly a deep clean once a year, the dread, the feeling behind it, and you don't get the benefit of just being in the know. It feels like this obfuscated black box where you're like, I don't know, it kind of works and you don't know who to trust and there's just so many unknowns, but like
Yeah.
I love the idea of like dating your money, understanding it's coming. It's just like anything else. You plan for it and you make do.
Well, and then to your cleaning analogy, if you're only doing that every month, it's always dirty, except for that one moment. If
Hmm.
you if you clean a clean house, you get to live in the cleanliness. You get to enjoy it all the time. It's
Yeah.
easier, it's more sustainable. And so then really is about just like with cleaning that if you set up a system that works, it will take care of itself.
Mm.
And there's very little maintenance that you have to do, and you find out that it is not something you dread or avoid because it's just part of your systems.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I know we're coming towards like the height of tax season and it's here, but as you think about kind of sharing tips for business owners, as they think about kind of starting that monthly preparation, we're, almost to the astrological new year, perfect on, May 20th or so. So it's the perfect time to put some new habits into place and to like really look at your relationship to money, your relationship to the systems that are supporting your business. Would love to kind of hear any other thoughts you have.
Yeah, I would like to give some very basic strategies that will work for almost everybody of stuff that you might be missing. Mileage is a really big deal
Mm.
that I just love the mileage deduction. A lot of people think that they're not, well, I don't use my car. I'm remote. I work remotely. And you might be surprised at how much mileage you really can get and how it will add up so quickly. And for me, the mileage deduction is like free money because it's money you're already spending and it's converting that personal expense to a business expense. The other thing for our online entrepreneurs is cell phone, internet, and home office. Those are really big deductions that can add up quick. And it's again my favorite because it's easy to convert money you're already spending and just lower your tax. And that's fun for me. And all of those things are about setting up a system so that you can track it. The most fundamental thing is make sure you have separate bank accounts for your business and run all of your income and expenses through that business bank account or credit card. If you do that, the rest is dominoes and you can grow with your business. Everything after that becomes easy. If you intermingle the business and the personal, everything after that is harder to implement, harder to track, all of those things. Um, and then I just think there's a time when an accounting professional will pay for itself. And I love DIY. I have no problem with DIY when the cost is not outweighing the benefit. So usually with my clients, when it's time to come on board, we'll save them significantly more in taxes than they pay us in fees. And so basically they're getting all of this great service for free or even as an investment. So an accountant, a really good trusted accountant can be a nice return on your investment. So it's not just money going out, but it's actually money coming back in.
And drive your business strategy, right? When it's time to grow up from an LLC to an S corp. Like there are major decisions. And for someone like me, I don't have anyone in my family that owns a business, And so to have, your team in place where like questions like that, how to plan for it, where it makes sense is just so needed and so helpful.
Agreed.
As we kind of talk about, a little bit more holistically about this business you've built and it being the opposite of that stereotypical kind of accounting experience, right? That many folks are still have or, what have you. Were there people on this path that kind of doubted this dream that you had? I'd love to really just dive into like the determination that you've had to build different in an industry that maybe isn't always open to building different.
I love this question. Accounting is heavily male. It's a very, like you said, masculine energy. And so it's a male dominated field. And um, the drive for profits kind of lends to just one model, and it's a churn. It's high volume, and you have to get through it as quick as you can in order to make a profit. And so all of the accounting firms that I worked for, while they had really good accountants, the very nature of the business was set up to short the client on their experience. The client was not the priority. Profit was the priority. And profit needs to be the priority in any business. I believe in profit first. But the client experience for me and what I was coming up against is everywhere I went in the accounting industry, it was all about boundaries, about what's included, what's not. Is this a paid service? Is it not? And what's the hourly rate? And very much in the accounting industry, same as a attorney industry is, bill by the hour. And that can be very open-ended and I don't even know. And then the only time that you could get really high level um access and high level accounting knowledge is if you paid that really high premium hourly rate. And that's scary. And I really wanted to believe that all of it could be different, that the people who were not making, $5 million businesses, that they could be entitled to the same quality of an accountant as the person who, because it's going to be on a lesser scale. And I
Right.
was like, so that it should work, it should
Yeah.
work. And then for the employees, every accountant I know, public accounting is like a burnout field where you can do it for 5 years and then you got to get out because tax season will kill you. And you have to, if you want to have a family, if you want to have a life. And I thought, there's got to be a better way. And I had a friend, her name is Dawn Patton, and she had patent accounting and tax. And we worked together at a firm where we were both being churned. And she got the opportunity to move. And I said, go build a business. And when you're ready, I'll come join you. And so a year later, she built this thing. And we kept talking about this idea of could we do it different where as an accountant, you could actually have a personal life? And could we like make it so that we can create time for our employees, create time for our, is there some sort of sweet spot? And I really do credit a lot of who I am and how I decided to be with to Dawn is I really felt like she really championed that. And she's not the only ones. There's others out there too. But her and I together, we really felt like we cracked this code and we made this safe place. And when she decided it was time for her to sell her business and focus on her family, she asked if I wanted to buy it. And I was like, oh, do I, I don't
Yeah.
know if I should buy hers or build my own. And I felt for the first time, after helping so many people build their businesses, I had that first entrepreneur call of like, I need to build something. And the answer was one of my, actually, one of the my founding clients were, I'm named after my two founding clients, Blue Deconstruction and Heart Industries, Blue Heart Accounting. And the heart of Blue Heart, he said to me, if if you were independently wealthy, if money was not the issue, would you still want to own this business? And
Mm.
my knee-jerk reaction was like, no, like I wouldn't work. Nobody would work, you know.
Yeah.
But before I could even say no, I I all of these faces came to mind of clients and employees that we had successfully built this safe place to be.
Mm.
And I just thought I felt this calling to build that again and build it even more so. So what I did different at Blue Heart is we're kind of getting rid of the boundaries. One of the things that we do different is we have an anytime anything link. For if you're working with us, you can schedule a call with us anytime for anything. Doesn't cost extra, it's already included. And it just brings down that barrier between what am I allowed to ask, what's in scope, what's out of scope. And then we've built our team in collaboration pods so that instead of having like a hierarchy where there's somebody in charge and people below, we all work as a unit. And before this call, there was three of us all working on one project together, collaborating. And it has just been the most invigorating experience. And my clients feel safe, my employees feel safe. It's just wonderful.
No, it's so, so beautiful and so important, especially in fields that can feel isolating and lonely to have that pod idea. Like brilliant, like I love that so much. In development, we have like pair programming, right? Where two developers, rather than trying to sit in front of a computer and like bang their head against the keyboard, will like sit and work together and like be in partnership. And I think the exact same, because not only do the businesses you're helping benefit from that, but your brain benefits from that connection and
My
community.
heart, my
Yeah,
heart and my soul benefits from
absolutely.
it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's so, so beautiful. For kind of, we'll do a faster kind of lightning round question of, you mentioned the blue and the heart, but do you have a favorite kind of client success story that you wanted to share that really kind of speaks to the method of Blue Heart Accounting and why it's been so successful?
Oh my gosh, I have a few. One of them that speaks to like something because it's front of mind. This is front of mind for me because I just finished it. I
Mm.
have a client who's on a CFO package. We meet monthly and we do projections and KPIs. It's very advanced package. And it's a pretty big investment. You know, he pays $3,000 a month, which is it's an expensive
Yeah.
fee. Um, and I just finished his return and saved him $97,000 in taxes this year.
Ooh,
And
that's good money. Oh,
that is such a return on
yeah.
investment. And that's like, again, the example, but he's paying an extensive fee and he's got a $5 million business. But what's really cool about that is I have packages that are $5,000 a year.
Yeah.
And while that is so fun to save that one client 97,000, to save a client $4,000 when that $4,000 is going to go towards their like first purchase of a home
Yeah.
or like that is even more impactful. And one of the things that we do as we send out our returns is we actually quantify the tax savings because how do you know if your accountant's even doing a good job?
Right.
How do you even know? They send you a bill, they file a thing, you don't even know what's wrong until the IRS says it's wrong.
Yeah.
And so we quantify that for each of our clients and say, these are the intentional strategies that we laid out, and here's the return on your investment. And that feels really fun.
That's
That really
beautiful.
feels really
No, thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have any spots left for this season, or how should people find you, start reaching out to you?
well, thank you. I'm currently taking discovery calls and we do pause our onboarding for right during tax season. And so, but we have open spots starting in May. So you can get on a waiting list for May and we'll onboard starting in May and keep going.
Beautiful. And where can they find that? I know I'll have it linked in the show notes, but if you want to plug kind of the website or anything verbally, feel free.
Excellent. Blueheartaccounting.com is where you can find our website. There's a link to book a discovery call from the website. You can also find us on Instagram. Again, Blue Heart Accounting.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank you all so much for watching Musings and Modalities with me, your pragmatic shaman bestie. Tune in the second and fourth Thursdays of each month at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for more fabulous episodes. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to Musings and Modalities with me, Tristen, your pragmatic shaman bestie. For more powerful healing tools, join me every second and fourth Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. I cover a variety of topics to meet you wherever you are at on your spiritual journey. Learn techniques to work with pendulums, past life healing, astrology, and more. Please share the show and subscribe for more guidance from your pragmatic shaman bestie at musingsandmodalities.com.